Again, my name is Khamara Turner. I am from the University of Pittsburgh. My primary role is as the Senior Access and Early Engagement Coordinator. So I do a lot of work with the Pittsburgh Admissions Collaboration, or PAC program for short. But today we will be discussing the college search and selection process, and specifically with the college search process, kind of how we can do it in this time that we're in right now. So I know Ms. Carla muted everyone, but I would like to hear a little bit more about just the grades we're all in and the school that you are currently attending. Ms. Carla, do they need to unmute themselves?
They can unmute themselves, yeah.
I'm Quay. I used to go to Obama. I was a senior, so I should be graduating this year. Was that all you asked?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm Naikwea. I go to City Charter High School, and I'm in 10th grade.
I'm Serena. I go to City High. I'm a senior.
I'm Rodney. I go to Westinghouse.
Rodney.
I'm Nicoye. I go to Urban Pathways downtown.
What grade are you in?
I'm in the 10th grade. I'll be in 11th this year.
I'm Michael. I go to Central Catholic High School. I'm in the 10th.
Was that everyone?
Right now, I don't think I heard from you, and Danielle. Danielle's still there.
I'm Danielle. I go to Orodice in Montgomery, a sophomore.
My name's Raina. I go to SATEC.
And what year are you?
I'm in 9th.
All right, so we have a wide range. We have some new high schoolers and some seniors who are graduating this year. Congratulations for our seniors. So again, today we will be talking about the college search and selection process, and then for our underclassmen, kind of what you can be doing during this time to have an effective college search process. So the first thing that we'll talk about is, I know we are in difficult times and it seems like a lot of things are closed or everything is completely different, but we are able to do a lot of the same things in terms of learning about colleges and connecting with colleges, seeing campuses, and connecting with admissions officers. So the first thing that we can do is to utilize our online search tools effectively. So in your current classrooms or on your virtual classrooms, you may still be able to connect with your school counselors. So definitely continue to use them as a resource, but also use your online search tools. And there are some that I listed here that I think are a really good starting point, especially for sophomores and freshmen. So you might not really have ever searched for colleges before. So because you're doing a lot of exploring, so think about those websites that are kind of one-stop shops. So I would suggest looking into College Board, where you can learn about literally hundreds of colleges, and then the Princeton Review will have a lot of different ratings, so you can get a better understanding about different schools and how they rank on different categories. And then Raise Me is a scholarship fund that has a really nice online search tool of the schools that offer scholarships for that participate in the Raise Me program. So and through Raise Me, they also have hundreds of colleges and profiles that you can go through and look into what that college offers, but also in terms of funding, which is really important, what that college offers for different courses and how they participate in the Raise Me program. And one thing you can do from home is to get connected. I know that a lot of campuses, a lot of colleges are offering online tours. So Pitt specifically, we have virtual campus tours, and something that I just learned today, which is really exciting, they are going to be having some of our current Pitt students who are in the area safely go around campus and offer some opportunities for students to connect with those students to see campus. And then other colleges have virtual tours as well. So one website here is campusreal.org, and there are hundreds of colleges that have virtual tours. So just because we can't visit campus right now in person doesn't mean that you can't still get a chance to see the entire campus. Most colleges will have the dorm rooms, you can see the cafeteria, you can see classrooms. So just because we can't visit right now doesn't mean you can't still see that college. And I know that this is a really difficult time we're in right now, but one thing I like personally about the virtual tours is it kind of makes everyone on the same playing field. I know when I was in high school a really long time ago, I wasn't able to visit all of the colleges I was interested in just because my family didn't have the funding for that. And so I would have loved to have those virtual tours. That was not a thing many years ago. But right now, I feel like this puts all of our students kind of the same level playing field. So everyone can still have the same opportunities to visit campuses and do so safely without having to travel, and also really inexpensively because you don't have to go to those physical campuses. So just something to keep in mind. And then a lot of colleges are offering virtual presentations. So once you got a chance to see campus, you might want to learn a little bit more about the actual college. You can do some college visits, so sit in those presentations. And then another thing that is happening is virtual college fairs. So if you all have gone to the NACAC or on any college fairs, you kind of understand what that is like. It's like you can go around to many different colleges, talk to admissions officers or other college representatives, and you can do that virtually as well. And they look a little bit different depending on the organization that's hosting it. I do know that StriveScan is offering a online college fair that is taking place until, I want to say, the end of next week. And a lot of them are recorded as well, so you can connect with many different colleges. So you can still get to see campus, you can talk to the college admissions officers, you can sit in on a presentation, you can attend college fairs. So I know that a lot of the excitement is being on the campus and experiencing colleges in person, but you can still get a lot of those same experiences from the comfort of your own home. And then right now, it's really important, especially for my seniors, to stay connected. So if you already know what college you're going to, you can still stay connected to your admissions counselor. So a lot of colleges will have a specific college admissions officer who is assigned to a specific region or high school. So make sure you get in contact with that person and stay in contact with that person, especially if anything changes that you think the college should be aware of. Anything related to your decision or your finances is going to be really important for you to maintain communication with your university. And then for those of you who are exploring, right now is a great time for you to schedule a more personalized one-on-one meeting with a college admissions officer. And I know the University of Pittsburgh has an opportunity for students to do that. So you can schedule one-on-one meetings. And if the school you're interested in doesn't have that publicly listed, reach out and ask, like, hey, can I meet with someone, either a quick Zoom meeting, or there are other programs like Calendly. If they are using whatever you're using, some may be using Microsoft Teams, it's a great way for you to connect and ask those personal questions. And then follow the schools you're interested in on social media. I know Pitt has social media pages, Instagram, Facebook. Oh, was that a question?
She was just coming in.
Oh, hello. So make sure you stay connected with your schools. And then I put the websites, well, not the specific websites, but the breaking news image. Make sure, especially my seniors who are rolling into college for the fall, follow your specific school's website to follow with any announcements or any changes, anything that you're going to want to know specifically about your school. So of course, it's important to stay engaged and have an understanding of what's going on in the news, but for you, your particular school, you can follow their actual website. I know Pitt News and a lot of our student-run newspapers are also still producing content. So whatever school you're interested in, even if it's not Pitt, if you plan on enrolling in the fall, make sure you are following their specific social media pages and news pages. And then for my seniors and my juniors and below, it is really important to be really intentional about your summer planning. So I know that a lot of things have been canceled, like the SAT, but the ACT is still currently offering summer test options. So if you planned on taking a test this spring, but they were canceled, and maybe your summer test was canceled if you were thinking about taking the SAT, the ACT is still offering summer testing. And if you are not going to be taking a test this summer, you can look into test prep. So if you're not working and you're still looking to study and get prepared, because you will be applying to college in the future that may require SAT or ACT, you can still use this summer and use your time this summer to either get prepared or to take that test if it's available. Another thing is try, if you have the time, to enroll in college courses or earn college credits. I know there is the NLA Neighborhood Learning Alliance. There's opportunities for students to take summer courses, and that is for free, and there's a job component to that, and we can discuss that further, and I can get you all connected with the person to sign up for that program. But if you have some time this summer, make sure you are trying to earn college credits if you can. And then still make sure you're building your resume. So I know if you're not working, you can still find time to volunteer safely. If there is an opportunity for you to do that, look into some leadership opportunities. And then this is a great time for you to start working on your college essays to kind of talk about those experiences and what you did this summer. Another thing we recently talked to our PEC students about is being really intentional about the jobs that you are looking for in the summertime. So if you are not already working and you're looking for jobs, just think about what additional benefits they may have beyond just your typical paycheck. So maybe looking into jobs that offer some education benefits, and I know that seems like it's a ways down the road, but there are programs or jobs that have some scholarships and tuition benefits to them. So just something to think about when you're in that college search process. I know we had some students who worked at Chipotle, and we talked to them about the tuition program that they have. It is affiliated with specific schools, but they do have other education benefits. So if you are working this summer, thinking about jobs that can help with your college planning or next steps. Did anyone have any questions thus far?
You also can use the chat feature if you all just want to type in questions.
I don't have any questions.
All right, so now we are going to jump into kind of once you have explored some different colleges, maybe you haven't completely narrowed down your choice. So how to go about actually making a college selection. So for my juniors and seniors, if you haven't already selected a school, really some things to strongly consider before you make that final selection. So when you're thinking about college, there are several factors that may attract you to a school, but some of the main things that you should consider are the school size, the location, environment, academics, expenses and financial aid, and then an overview or an understanding of the admissions process that you will be going through. So for the size, you have to think about where you do best. I'm from Philadelphia, and I went to a pretty large high school, and I thought about doing nursing, and I got to college and realized that wasn't for me, but I did thrive in my initial nursing courses, and I went to a really small private Catholic school in Miami, Florida, because I thought I wanted to get far away. But that was an intentional decision because I realized I was going to be in some difficult courses and I wanted to be in a small setting. So thinking about how you learn best and where you're going to do best. And then thinking about the undergraduate population, and usually that correlates to the kind of activities or sports that are offered. So really thinking about if you want to go to a school that has, the stadiums or the large events, if that's what you're interested in, you might be considering a mid to large size university. Another thing to think about is the average class size. Again, thinking about your learning environment, where you do best. If you I've had classes that were as small as 6 people all the way up to 200 people, and that makes a big difference. And knowing that the class size and the school size can impact a lot of things, including your academic advising, as well as your access to tutoring and other academic supports. The next thing you're going to want to think about is location. I know right now we're all home. Hopefully we will be back on campus. If not soon, certainly in the future. So making sure you're making that decision about where you want to be. Again, I mentioned that I thought I wanted to be far away from Philadelphia, and I went to a small school in Miami, Florida. I quickly realized that that was not going to work for me. And so I decided to transfer closer to home, but still not home, to the University of Pittsburgh. But thinking about where you want to be, I always tell students, not just where the campus is, but where you would want to live. So you're not just a student. So you want to be in a city or town that you are going to enjoy. So making sure you're thinking about that. It's most likely where you're going to work if you do work in undergrad. So one thing that really attracted me to Pittsburgh, and not just Pitt, was the opportunities for jobs, for research. When I was a student, I did work, and I was able to work at a hospital, work in a child care center. So thinking about where you're going to get those experiences and not have to travel for them. If you are going to go to a college or university that's not in a city, maybe thinking about what's the nearest city, and that will impact things like if you are in the healthcare field, making sure you're going to want to be somewhere near a hospital and things like that. So not just thinking about the physical location of the school itself, but what's around it, because that's going to be part of your undergraduate experience. And then thinking about the cost of living. So if you do go to a college and you graduate and you end up working there, you're going to want to make sure you can comfortably afford to live there. That's another thing that attracted me to the city of Pittsburgh and University of Pittsburgh. Again, I was not going to be living in the city of Miami on a teacher's salary, which is what I ended up graduating and becoming, was a teacher. So thinking about that. And then the access to transportation. I didn't drive, so I knew I was going to need to have access to the bus or subway system, or the T is what you all have in Pittsburgh, but just thinking about all of those things. So I know a lot of students, they just think, I want to be in a specific city, or I want to go to a specific school. So just make sure you're thinking about everything that's around that school as well, because that is a part of your college experience. Another thing is the environment. So we're talking about the environment of the school. So is it a 2-year school or a 4-year school? If you are thinking about maybe attending a co-ed institution or an all-female school or all-male school, if there's a particular religious affiliation that you are looking for your university or college to have, making sure they have that. I went to a Catholic school for my freshman year, and they offered religious affiliated Catholic services that many of my peers attended. So just again, thinking about what you're looking for and if that school has. When you had a small job in college, did you get paid while still experiencing your career field? Yes, I did. So I did a program at Pitt called Jumpstart, and I worked in a small preschool classroom, and it was one of the highest paid work study jobs, but it also came with a educational benefit from AmeriCorps, which I used to pay for my books. I also had a couple of like desk jobs, retail jobs. So I worked a lot of different jobs in college, but yes, I always, and again, to my point earlier when I was talking about being really intentional about your summer job, I was always looking for something that was not just the paycheck. So that's part of the reason I did Jumpstart. I really loved being in the classroom, but I also knew that that education benefit would help me in other ways. So that helped me pay for my books. And then I went on after college to another AmeriCorps program called Teach for America, and that helped with some of my other educational benefits. So just, you know, it can be difficult to be a student and to work. So just trying to combine as many things as possible to be the most beneficial for you. Yeah, and then another thing is the extracurricular activities. So looking if the school has the things that you're interested in. I was not a big athletics person, but I did still go to the Pitt football games for the songs. I didn't really know too much about football, but I love that experience. So coming from a really tiny school that didn't have that, I didn't even realize how much it allowed me to get involved in the community. When I came to Pitt and was involved in like going to the football games, I went to the basketball games, was in the Oakland Zoo. And again, not a big sports fan, but just being around all of the students was really exciting for me. I was able to join several undergrad clubs and get leadership positions, which again helped me build my resume. So just making sure whatever you're interested in doing, that the college either offers that or has opportunities for you to create them, those clubs for yourself. I had a roommate who got up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day and did rowing. And then she also did ultimate Frisbee that took her to London, which was not something I was at all interested in, but Pitt had that opportunity for her. So if you currently play a sport, making sure the college has that either at the club level or at the competitive level, if that's something you want to do in college. So just making sure you can continue your interests and your hobbies, because it's not just the classroom, which is extremely important, but making sure you have a well-rounded experience. Oh boy, I think I froze. Okay, and then the first thing that a lot of students think about, and I did this pretty much last intentionally, a lot of students think, what school has the best insert blank program that you're looking for? That is very important for you. Of course, you're going to want to make sure the college offers the major or degree that you eventually want to earn. But one thing that was important for me, and I always try to tell students, is making sure they have many different options just in case you change your mind. So the school that I went to, it had an amazing nursing program, but once I realized I didn't want to be a nurse, I struggled to figure out different options, whereas Pitt has over 100 majors for students to choose from. So making sure, unless you are 100% certain about what it is that you want to do, just making sure the college that you attend has a lot of different programs for you to explore. Thinking about what special requirements they may have. So for some really specific majors, you might need to already have experience in that field or have done research or volunteering. So just making sure you're aware of any specific requirements. And then if you are thinking about going on to graduate or professional school, you may not want to stay at the same school beyond the 4 years, but if the school has that program, it's an opportunity for you to begin making those connections. And then I know Pitt and a lot of other institutions now have some guaranteed programs that students can look to. So for example, at Pitt, a student can be admitted their freshman year and have a guarantee for a medical school or a dental school or a law school, things like that. So thinking about making that long-term plan. And then again, I did mention that I did work in college, but I also did internships. So making sure your school has opportunities for you to get that experiential learning, either paid or unpaid. Because if you are thinking about graduate school or whatever your next step is after your bachelor degree, you want to make sure you have opportunities to build your resume and that your school offers those opportunities for you. And of course, you're going to want to make sure that the school is affordable and you are aware of what all of the costs are. So not just tuition. I know a lot of students, they'll look up a school and just look at this tuition, making sure you're thinking about the difference between in-state versus out-of-state if the school is a state-affiliated school. I feel like I'm giving you all of the don't do what I did lessons. So just I thought I wanted to be far away from home, and I didn't realize the impact that would have on the cost until I came back to the state of Pennsylvania. And I know a lot of students, I talk to a lot of Pittsburgh public school students who are eligible for the promise and they still think, want to go out of state. So just making sure you're considering all of the costs and the benefit that you can have by going to a state-related institution or a state school and the tuition benefit. So thinking about the room and board costs, if you want to live by yourself in your own room, that's probably going to be more expensive than if you have roommates or multiple roommates or suites, and looking at those costs. And then books and school supplies. Books can get expensive. I am starting school this summer, my grad school, and I was like, oh boy, I forgot how much books cost. So looking into programs or scholarships that have book awards, or one really good hack that I try to give all students. At most institutions, the library is required to have the book for your class. So going to the library and copying the book or checking out the book, or just looking at different ways to make those books more affordable, or do the other programs that have like books built in. And then of course, thinking about the transportation. If you are in a school that is not near a bus or a subway, you might need a car. And that is a big expense that students might not always consider. So thinking about costs, I know that through this program, you all learn a lot about the financial aid. So making sure you're completing that, being aware of the different types of funding, and it is never too early to start scholarships at all. The program that I mentioned earlier with the scholarship search was Raise Me. So Raise Me is a program where students can, as early as their freshman year, enter the classes that they are taking. And there are colleges that have automatic dollars awarded for earning, say, like an A in an IB or AP course or honors level course, or will award you for volunteering, for having a job. So making sure you are starting early. It is not too early to start looking for college funding. And then being aware of different types of grants. And last but not least, of course, is being aware of loans. So either federal loans or private loans, or there are things called Parent Plus loans. So just making sure when you are making that final decision about college, that you are thinking about the bottom line costs. So what it is going to cost you after all of the free money, I say, has been applied, and then loans, and then thinking about that for all 4 years of your undergraduate degree, not just for your freshman year. So that is about it for funding. And then that's the decision you make once you have been accepted to the school and you have your financial aid package, you'll have that bottom line cost. But for my juniors and below, if you have not applied to a college, well, since you have not applied to a college, before you start that process, just being aware of what all is required. Usually you should apply early if the school is rolling admission, or early action or early decision. Just making sure you have everything that you need ready to go when it is time to apply, so you can get a decision as early as possible. Most colleges still require students to have a standardized test, so either the SAT or the ACT, and if the school has a requirement for any subject tests, so sometimes that's required for specific majors, you're going to want to make sure you are taking those tests and taking them well in advance if possible, so that if needed, if you need to take them again, you give yourself some buffer room to retake those and get your best score. You need to know your high school GPA and class rank. Some schools do rank, some don't, so don't feel like that's a box you have to complete if that information is not available. Typically, smaller schools with about 150 or less students won't rank the senior class. Any supplemental materials. So we talked a little bit about summer planning earlier in the college search process section of this presentation. So if you are writing your essays, make sure you are, I'm gonna check the chat. Sorry, guys. Did I have a job on campus to help pay for tuition? So the one job that I mentioned was the Jumpstart job, where I had a education benefit through AmeriCorps, and I got that every year, and I used that money to pay for my books. And my senior year, I used that money to go toward my loans to help with the balance later on. Can you speak about scholarship displacement and if Pitt participates in that type of financial aid? That is not something I am familiar with. The person who asked the question, could you elaborate a little further? Dean, was it Dean?
So I'm sorry. So scholarship, I actually just learned about this and I didn't know how many schools actually do it, but a lot of universities will offer need-based scholarships.
Mhm.
So just saying Pitt offers a need-based scholarship and they say that $20,000 of your tuition will be paid. But then you go out and you get awarded a scholarship from Walmart for $5,000. So instead of getting that full amount, do they reduce the amount of the scholarship, the need-based scholarship? That's scholarship displacement.
So yes, that will impact your financial aid, not the merit aid. So the merit aid that's based on your academics, that scholarship amount is set, but that need-based aid, so at Pitt, it's the Panther Award, that if you get an outside scholarship, including the Pittsburgh Promise, it will change your financial aid package, yes.
Like I said, I just heard about it. I've known people that, I didn't know what the term was, but I've known people say, oh, well, my school is going to pay, $20,000. But when those other scholarship dollars come in, that 20 keeps going down. And I knew that for Pittsburgh Promise, but I wasn't sure if, I don't know how many of the universities in the state participate in that type of financial aid.
Yep, and I'm sorry, Ms. Carla, I was not aware of the term either, but yes, that is something we have always done.
Yeah. It's kind of not fair because you still need the money, because it's not like you can go to Pitt for $25,000 or pretty much any university for $25,000. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it is. And that's what we try to be upfront with students. We had that happen last year with when we did the Pell Grant match. So making sure students, because what could happen is students could get so much outside funding that it does change your need, which does change your whole financial aid package.
So yeah, those students, and most of our students might fall into that category where they would apply, would be eligible for the need-based scholarship and get that award. And we're always telling them, keep applying for scholarship. There's scholarships through the Poise Foundation, Pittsburgh Foundation. But for every dollar that they get in, that's a dollar that they lose from the university if they also receive that money. So it makes it's like you're earning that money twice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just wanted you guys to know that. Something I just learned.
Yeah.
And if I might be able to jump in really quickly, Danielle, you had your hand raised. Do you have a question as well? Or did we answer it for you already?
My question is, what if you don't take AP classes?
So you are not obligated to take any specific high school curriculum. You don't have to take the AP or IB or college and high school or dual enrollment. It's typically colleges just want to see that you are doing well in whatever courses you've taken. And if your school does offer those classes, we do like to see that you have attempted them. But if you don't think you're going to do well in those courses, obviously you work with your counselor to figure out what's the best academic fit for you, but you're not required to take any AP, IB, college and high school. You of course need to meet your graduation requirements and take, the math and sciences and English and all of that. But what level you take them at there's no requirement. At least not specifically for Pitt is what I could speak of. But if your school offers those courses, we do like to see that you've attempted them and done well, but you're not required to. There are certain classes you have to take for specific majors. So if you are interested in business or engineering, we need to see math to pre-calc, certain sciences and things like that. But in terms of if you took it at the AP or standard level, as long as you have that course and has done well, that would check the box of having that required course, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. That is actually it for me. Did anyone have any other questions? I want to say I really enjoy connecting with students. I feel like it's been a really long time since we got to see students in person. So thank you all for having me and for seeing everyone's faces, even though you were hesitant to get on camera.
I know they act like they're wanted. Can't see me. You all don't have any questions? I know we have some of our rising 11th graders.
I wanted to ask you to re-go over what you talked about with co-op.
Okay.
What that actually meant. I wasn't.
So co-op or cooperative education, I can, I'll stop sharing my screen. That is usually for engineers or students who are in computer science. It is, are you interested in engineering?
No.
Okay. It's a specific kind of internship just for engineers and computer science. So for co-op students, and some schools may do a little bit differently, but at Pitt, students are working full-time for a company for a semester, and that is paid, and it just gives them some work experience. It's not required for our engineers, but about 50% of our engineers do it. But it's not, it's very similar to doing an internship.
Okay, thank you.
And then I had a question, do I know any way to better your chances to get into college? For the person who asked this question, what year are you?
I'm a sophomore right now.
Okay. Do you know what you want to study, or do you have an idea of an area of interest?
I think I want to study journalism.
Okay. So generally it is to make sure you're doing well in your courses, and if your school offers challenging courses, to challenge yourself and take those courses, and build your resume. Make sure you're getting really good experiences, so experiential learning. It's not too early to start volunteering and try to do internships so that you can kind of get your foot in the door, and start making connections with colleges. So attending things like this, the program that you participate in with School to Career. Once we get back in person or even virtually, just attending events and start making those connections with college. But on your end, just making sure you have the best profile that you can have for yourself. So making sure you are taking, again, those challenging courses, making sure you're doing well in your courses, monitoring your attendance. The college may look at that as well, and making sure you're getting and staying involved as much as you can.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No other questions?
No questions here.
Did you have questions? Because you're a junior as well. I don't know if your sound is working. I know you were having some technical issues, but do you, because I know Pitt is one of your schools that you've selected. Did you have any questions? Because you, being at Westinghouse, you'll probably meet Ms. Khamara when you all go back. She's flickering. Can you just give us like 2 seconds on the PAC program, since you do work with Westinghouse and UPrep?
Yes, thank you. Because I was like, didn't know if that was allowed.
Yes, absolutely.
So the PAC program, or the Pittsburgh Admissions Collaboration, is actually a college pathway program where we work with students who currently we're working with UPrep and Westinghouse, and we bring students to campus or offer virtual programming. We can't say for certain what's happening in the fall, but to create college readiness workshops for students who are interested in the pathway. So the PAC pathway is where students go to CCAC for 1 or 2 years, depending on what they ultimately want to study at the University of Pittsburgh. Those students are guaranteed admission to Pitt, the campus of their choice. And while students are at CCAC and at Pitt, we pay for their books, we pay for their transportation. While they're at CCAC, we provide a bus pass for those students. I and the other Access and Early Engagement Coordinator, we check in with those students at least bi-weekly, so provide another layer of support for students. We really want to just help you all get through the pathway into graduation. I make the joke all the time to my students that I'm coming to graduation. I don't care how many tickets they have. Just want to see them come to Pitt and graduate from the University of Pittsburgh. We give them a mentor who is a current Pitt student so that they have kind of their first friend at Pitt to talk to them about the college experience. They have it's a small group, so we provide a lot of support for those students.
So how long has the PAC program been in existence, and how many of those students, I guess, have gone on from CCAC to Pitt now?
So this is only our third year.
Okay.
So our first cohort, we didn't have students who finished up at CCAC. We have our last year cohort of students just finished their first full year of college.
Okay. And the plans, I mean, we don't know what next fall is, but if it's virtual, would you do like the weekly meetings that you used to have? Okay, that would still continue on. And how would a student get involved if they attend Westinghouse or UPrep for next year?
So it can reach out to me, and I can give you my contact information. Both of the community school coordinators at UPrep and Westinghouse, they can collect applications for the PAC program, and they'll ultimately get to either me or Jess. But yes, we are still looking for students who are interested in the program.
So I have one other question that just came through on chat. If there's a student that is at Alderdice, attends Alderdice for core classes, but goes to Westinghouse for cosmetology, would they be eligible for the Westinghouse PAC program?
Where will they technically graduate? Wherever they'll technically graduate from.
Well, technically it would be both, because they would have a cosmetology degree license or, diploma for cosmetology from Westinghouse. It's CTE, so they get both.
Let me get back to you on that.
Miss Carla, always with the stumpers.
I'm trying. I'm trying to get my kids all the exposure, all the, connections that they can. I'm not that person that says you can only do school to career, because I know we're good, but we can't do everything. And I've known about your program since the beginning. And if there's a way to get, that Alderdice Westinghouse share in there, why not?
Yeah, I appreciate your advocacy. We actually had all of our seniors this year from UPrep or in school to career. And that's part of the reason why we started during our in-school sessions, because we wanted to make sure they could, we don't ever want, just like you, we don't ever want a student to have to, make any kind of difficult decisions. We want you to get all of the resources you can to help get to whatever next step you and your family have.
Absolutely. All right, great. Quay, did you have a question? I thought I saw your mic go off. Or not Quay, or one of you all.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I haven't heard a thing how this could help me in my school. These are Pittsburgh public schools.
I know. She attends City High. So is there any plans to expand to charters at any point, or do you all do any presentation or outreach to City High?
So Tasha would be the best person to connect with about that. I have done some presentations and connections with urban pathways, not specifically City High, but it would be more so just representation from Pitt, not the PAC program.
Okay. I'll call Tasha, not Quay. See how we can get that connection. I mean, yeah, it is a great program. So again, UPrep Westinghouse students, if there is an opportunity for you to participate, definitely take advantage of it. And to have, university pay for your books, that's huge. I mean, if nothing else, that and transportation, which is almost $100 a month. So that's a great benefit. So
it's a program that we are really excited about, to be able to offer that support. And then last year we had about 16 seniors, and only 5 of them came through the pathway. We were still able to support students with whatever their post-secondary plans were, because that's what we ultimately want to help them get to their degree. We want them to be from Pitt, but if we could help with the financial aid process, the admissions process, the majority of us who work in the program, we work for the Office of Admissions and Financial Aid, so we have that insight to be able to help students through the college process.
All right, we are gonna let Ms. Khamara go. I thank you. I have the list for you.
Thank you.
And I'll email that as soon as we hang up today. And